Hi, Namaskar. I am Jyoti Kiran. Wish you all a very happy Republic Day. And welcome to DD Bharati's special program Indo-French Cultural Connect. As you all know, French President is the chief guest of this year's Republic Day celebrations, and a high-level delegation comprising experts from all fields has also come along with him to India, and some of them will be with us in a short while from now. If we talk about Indo-French relations, over the years, Indo-French relations have always been unique, strong and consistent. Cinema was born in 1895 in France, and the first film shot in 1896 in France was shown in Mumbai. So both the countries have shared long-standing collaborations and experiences in the field of cinema.
Vous partez longtemps?
2 ans.
À Bombay?
J'accompagne mes parents qui travaillent là-bas et je fais une école de photo.
C'est trop grand, c'est énorme.
Great experts from the field of cinema from both the countries are here with us today.
A warm welcome to the panel discussion on artistic collaboration and cinema. Artists, writers and filmmakers have a profound influence on our society because they give us the tools to see ourselves and understand others. It becomes an even greater influence when they come together, especially from diverse cultures. There is no better example of such artistic collaboration than one between India and France in its cultural relations. Our distinguished panel of speakers today represents that cultural narrative of celebration, which is the spirit of the strong ties between the two great countries. We have a filmmaker from France who has just released his second feature film made in Mumbai. There is a beautiful tradition in France of film critics going on to become filmmakers. The examples are our favorite filmmakers, Jean-Luc Godard, Claude Chabrol, François Truffaut, Alain Resnais. Nicolas Sada, who has made the Taj Mahal, represents the newest generation of such tradition in France. If there is one industry in India which is going places in the film world, it's the Marathi cinema. Umesh Kulkarni is among those who have helped in the return of Marathi cinema to the world stage. He studied direction at Film and Television Institute of India and went on to study more of cinema in Paris. In 2012, his film, The Temple, won the National Award for Best Feature Film. He has made 4 feature films and as many short films, one of which, Girni, was adjudged the best non-feature film of India in 2004. Aditi Maheshwari, our third panelist, Director of Copyrights and Translation Department at the Vani Prakashan and the Managing Trustee of Vani Foundation. She is advisor to Jaipur Literature Bookmark Art and the Kumayon Literature Festival. Nicolas Sada, what's your experience in the cultural collaboration, especially with the making of the Taj Mahal?
Well, it's a long story. Originally, I was like many people, really horrified by what happened in Mumbai on 26/11. Like many other people, I just witnessed this event on the news. There was no way I could tell myself, oh, this is a story for a movie. I had no intention to think of that drama as a possible story for a film. It's not until I met a young woman, French woman, who happened to be in the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel on that particular evening, and I heard a story, and the story was so strong and universal, and it was about surviving and caring and loving, and I thought there's a way for me to talk about this event through the eyes of one individual. So to me, it was trying to portray how this event affects people's lives, whether it's a collective experience or a singular experience. I just wanted to portray this in Taj Mahal. So the film was meant really to also, for me, try to come back to India. It's a country I'd known for some time. My first trip was here in Delhi in 1989. I was part of a delegation. I was working as a film journalist, and it was my first trip to India. I was really, really surprised and completely enthralled by the people I met. Directors like Aravindan, but above all, Mani Kaur. Mani and I became friends. And through Mani, I met Piyush Shah, who is a great director of photography. And Piyush and I had long discussions about film. Mani was passionate about film. And I realized how strong the film culture here was. Not only the industry, but also the love of filmmakers and filmmaking. I had only the knowledge of Indian cinema through the films of Satyajit Ray. Then I discovered the other masters. I was really taken aback by the films of Guru Dutt. And Mani was also another voice. He was a poet. Piyush and I had long exchanges here in Delhi. Then I went to visit the Taj Mahal in Agra. Came back. And on the day of my departure, I realized I brought a jacket with me. And the jacket brand, the name of the jacket was called Taj Mahal Tailor Hong Kong. And I'd never seen that brand until the day I left Delhi, January 1989. So I asked Piyush, what does that mean? It's so strange. And he told me that means you will come back to India one day for a very specific reason. And then time went by, and I forgot that story. And I saw the events on 26/11, was shattered by the events. Shattered by what happened to a country, a big country, huge country, important country in every sense of the word. And then that young woman I met, and I used to write the script, and I'd simply called the script Taj Mahal because I liked the title. But I'd completely forgotten about that story hidden in my past. And when I started my experience as like a filmmaker trying to do a film in Mumbai, I thought, well, I have to go to Mumbai now. That was 2013. So I made the trip to Mumbai, but before leaving, I thought I should try and know what happened to Piyush. Piyush lives in Mumbai, and I found his address and number very quickly. So it was my first trip after 24 years, and I met Piyush, and I told him, you were right. I'm back in India for a very specific reason. I'm doing a film about a young woman who survived the 26/11 attacks. And he says, well, that's a strong, strong story. Well, tell me about it. And this is how I asked Piyush to work on the film, second unit, and to make as much as possible material of Mumbai with his own eye. I wanted an Indian eye in my French vision.
J'accompagne mes parents qui travaillent là-bas et je fais une école de photo.
Mais c'est trop grand, c'est énorme.
So to me, Taj Mahal is like completing a circle, but the circle was not complete. As I was doing this movie, I was experiencing, discussions with friends of mine. I said, why are you so obsessed with the story? Why do you want to tell that story? It happened way back in the 2008. It's another country. It's another continent. And I remember telling friends of mine, this is our story. It's our story. This girl's story, these events are our story. But I couldn't say more. I kept saying, this young woman's experience is universal. She meets her fears. She meets her worst nightmares. And we're part of this. We'll be exposed to this one day or the other. I completed the filming of Taj Mahal in Mumbai in early November, then went back to Paris and filmed the rest of the film on the soundstage. And we ended the filming on December 16th, 2014. And we started editing on January the 5th of last year. 2 days before the Charlie Hebdo attacks. So suddenly the film was meeting something. And I realized that story, that film that I had carried for so long, was suddenly becoming involved in another reality. It was not an Indian reality, it was a French reality. So the circle became more and more complete as months went by and other attacks happened in Kenya, in Burkina, in Thailand, in Tunisia. And 3 weeks before the film opened, there was another attack in Paris on November 13th of last year. And when I saw the images of what was going on in the streets of Paris, I immediately clicked with what I had seen in 2008 and horrified me. The idea of a town, of a city where people are mixed together and are facing horror. So the circuit was definitely complete. And Taj Mahal for me is not only a movie, it's a personal journey. And I'm completing this circle with being here in Delhi, 27 years after my first trip. So I'm very moved to be back in India because I think it's a great country. And it's great, the great filmmakers of India have had a lot of influence on me, especially Mani, of course Satyajit Ray. And I used music from The Word of Apu in my film during a scene of a tribute, a sort of tribute to all the victims of 26/11, as if I needed, through that scene and the use of that music, to give the film back to India. So the film is as much mine as it is yours, because I was helped here by wonderful people.
Umesh Kulkarni, how has your stint in Paris helped you as a young Indian filmmaker?
I studied in Film and Television Institute of India, which is in Pune. When I was in my first year, I got a scholarship from French government to study in La Femis in the summer university course. So the summer university course was the first time I was going outside India, and it was a very enthralling experience, because when I went to La Femis, everything started changing. It was the first time I started realizing what it is to be an Indian. So you have to really go out of the system to realize who you are as a human being and who you are as a society. In France, in La Femis, the whole experience of understanding films with 12 different students from 12 different countries was a unique experience in my life. I made my first documentary or first film ever in Paris. It's called Les chemins très connus sont les chemins inconnus. The known paths are always unknown. In a way, I'm experiencing that all my life, because you think that you know something and you then realize that you actually know nothing. Then we went to La Rochelle. It was the first festival I attended in my life, and the kind of respect for cinema was something which was very, very, very new to me. I also realized that there are so many great filmmakers like Manikaul, like as you said, like Arvindan, but the only filmmaker who was known to the French people and friends I met was Satyajit Ray, and they only knew Bollywood, like the Hindi film industry, and that was that was very surprising for me, because there was a lot of regional film industries in India, and they were completely not known outside India. Your experience of watching films, your experience of relationship with cinema, it enlarges, but it also gave me a great insight that if you want to really make a film of your heart, you have to make it in your mother tongue. So in a way, my stay in France and watching all the great filmmakers, I realized that I should make my film in my mother tongue, which is Marathi. And so when I passed out from FTII, I realized that I will be making short films along with the feature films, and I will make films in my mother tongue. And then my journey to make feature films, it started. The diploma film that I made called Girni, The Grinding Machine, it went to several international short film festivals around the world, and I again got a chance to go back to France to show my film, and it was a very magical moment for me, because I studied my early lessons in France, and then I was showing my first short film in France, in Clermont-Ferrand. Then I made my first feature film called Valu, The Wild Bull, and then I made another feature film which which is called Vihir, the well. So Vihir is again a very personal story of a teenage boy who is discovering the element of death in his life. It was produced by AB Corp, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Jaya Bachchan, who are my seniors from Film Institute. They produced this film, and then after it was again premiered in Busan, and it was shown in Berlin and in Rotterdam. And slowly I discovered that if I have to say something universal, I have to really make it in my mother tongue. And slowly Marathi cinema also started changing, because a lot of young filmmakers started coming to Marathi cinema, and they started telling their stories in Marathi language. And in last 10 years, we could see that Marathi cinema changed, and we really have a great beginning of a new wave, which perhaps started in France many years back. So that kind of Marathi new wave started 10 years back. And then we made a film called Deul, a temple, which talks about the commercialization of religion, at the same time the commercialization of each and everything that we live. Our relationships are commercialized, our way of thinking is commercialized. I always felt that this difference between why we are called a developing country, and why what is the idea of development, and I always wanted to explore the idea of development, which I tried in my film called Deul. And recently I finished my 4th feature film called Highway, which is understanding this changing India in today's time, which the whole film happens on highway, and there are some 12 different stories and 35 different characters in the film. So in a way, France, my visit to France and my visit to Clermont-Ferrand, I also went to Cannes once. So all these visits and my study in France, it gave me a courage and a confidence that your love for cinema will sustain you in this very complicated, difficult world.
Atul Maheshwari, Vani Prakashan is translating the Hindi translation of Persepolis by Mashan Satrapi, an Iranian-French writer, graphic novelist, and also filmmaker. What's the tradition of translation between French and Hindi, according to your experience? Because translating Persepolis into Hindi would mean that it would reach a very big audience. And also Persepolis is related to cinema, because after Mashan Satrapi wrote the book, it was also, she co-directed the film, which was in the competition of the Cannes Film Festival, and she also won the jury prize for that. So you are also bringing an entire different dimension to the visual arts to a very wide audience here. What's your comment?
So my interaction with French literature and philosophy began when I was studying at Delhi